What's up, Internet? So today I'm joined by Tom from Utah. He's one of our avid PolarStar users. He came all the way here to hang out with us for a day and talk about the new Kythera system. Now, Tom did test the original prototype, that's correct?
That is correct.
Probably like August, something like that.
Yeah, when I came out in August, we went ahead and shot the original prototype, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you went ahead and changed, and also thank you for inviting me to
No
come
problem.
and tour the shop.
Hey, if y'all come from Utah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you tested the original one, didn't have the modifications done for the trigger, so this one is the tuned version. So have you suit that up and see what you think about it.
I'm excited to go ahead and get those first shots and send down range. I haven't shot it all yet.
No?
You know, I went ahead and dry fired a little bit, but I haven't put air to it, so like, let's stop talking about it.
All right.
Let's do this thing.
All right, here you go. Wow, I would think that rifle, new Sigum CX.
It's a new pinup girl.
It is pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. You know what? It is just another M4, you know, but
Just
it's so
pretty.
much more. I mean, you can really see how great they went ahead and all the work that they put in the gun to really make it a unique replica.
Yeah, there's a huge attention to detail there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful replica. Sig outdid themselves on this one for sure.
Definitely. It's going to be a favorite, I'm sure.
Well, let's go ahead and hook up some air and let's shoot this bad boy.
Go for it. There you go.
Make sure that mag's in there nice and tight. Got to give it that nice little slap. Let's go ahead and test out the trigger and see what variations, and I'll tell you a little bit more from the difference from when I shot it in August to when I'm going to shoot it now and what those differences are. Okay, Rod. So let's have a little chat about the changes on the trigger. First of all, is I can feel the pull difference, the weight of the trigger. The original one in August and on that prototype was a lot heavier. I can tell instantly already that the trigger is way lighter and it's way more in that 3.5 pound range of a match trigger. The other thing that I noticed too is length of pull and reset. The length of pull and the reset was much longer on that particular rifle, and that's the difference and the revisions that I'm seeing and why it's taking longer to release the Kythera.
Yes.
You know, and I think yes, we all want it. I want it. They want it. Everybody wants it, and I can understand why you're taking that time to go ahead and
Sure.
do that. Those improvements are worth a couple months delay.
Yeah, like as you said, attention to detail on the rifle, we're doing the same thing with the Kythera. It's just the little finer details. You don't really notice it, but when it's there, you really pick up on it.
It's that I'm ultimately impressed. I know more about what's actually occurring in this system with the trigger, just from not from shooting it, but just looking at the engineering that actually went into it. There's nothing like this in airsoft, is there?
No, there's not.
There's not. What makes this trigger so much more unique than say like a valve trigger on some of the other systems?
So this trigger operates very much like a single action firearm. It's actually dropping the steer out of the way, it's releasing the valve to fire forward, and then there's a disconnect that catches it on the way back. So you have that correct trigger break and reset feel. With air valve, it's basically your finger is basically the solenoid. When you pull the trigger, you're opening the valve with your finger, and then when you close it, the solenoid closes. So you have a very mushy, kind of not very tactile feel to it.
Yeah. So I do a lot of real still shooting. You know, I have some really custom tuned AR-15s, and the thing that I also like about this trigger, and I could just tell just a second ago, is that I can't actually feel the break. What do I mean by that? It means the trigger is surprising me. That is something in shooting that every time that you want to do that, because you're not anticipating the shot, you don't know when the shot's actually going to go off, and I can feel that in the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And that is nothing that I've ever felt before on any airsoft gun that I've ever shot before.
Right.
And that is very unique.
Right.
I think just my observations and what's actually happening here is this is a real innovative piece of technology. It's actually marrying that real firearm trigger to airsoft. And pay attention. I mean, pay attention. You're looking at probably the most innovative thing out of 2020 that didn't show up at SHOT Show.
Yes, we were kind of busy working on it, but thank you very much.
Yes, so I'm truly impressed with it. So on that end of things, so What else do we got? We got some other Kytheras on the
so
table.
I guess kind of today we've done obviously a lot of videos in the past on the Kythera, and there's been a lot of questions we've tried to answer over the course of all these updates. We're going to try and just kind of recap on some of the most commonly asked questions and just make sure there's an answer out there in one video.
Well, I got some questions, so as we're talking about this stuff, I'm going to ask you some. And I know I've got the man right here. This is the guy that when you send an email to, that sits there for hours on end answering your crazy airsoft questions. Make sure you guys, if you guys see Rod, thank you for doing that. You know, that's part of the great thing about PolarStar Airsoft's customer service.
Thank you.
You know,
we do really try.
I know you guys do.
Some days it's harder than others, but yes.
Yes. And you know what? I think a lot of us in the community appreciate that, because when it comes down to the time to actually go and play the game, it means our stuff is working, so we can go enjoy our time off and do that stuff. So we appreciate it. Thanks for that.
No problem. All right. So I guess one of the first things people have been asking is, will the Catheter work with the Ugss and CGS air systems? That's the system that uses either the 13-3000 tank on the stock, or it can be switched out for a CO2 insert using a 12 or 33 gram. So answer is yes, it definitely does. This one is fitted with it right here, and I know it's good news for you because you've used the CGS, right?
I've used the CGS and I've used the Ugss. I was lucky enough to be one of the first people to have the production model of the CGS and go ahead and run that. And I've run that on 2 different platforms. I've ran that on my HK416E5 from Elite Force, which I love.
That's right.
I love those guys over there. And also, I've ran the 12 gram inserts on another 416E5, and then I did the CGS2 as well on a Tokyo Marui shotgun as well with the 33s, and that was a lot of fun on that side of things. So, yes, the question is, will it work with the Kythera?
Yes, it definitely does. Same basic interface as with all the other cylinder dropping kits. Installation is the same exact method. Yeah, and like the Kythera should be basically about as air efficient as an F2, so you'll have about the same shot count per tank as well.
Sure. So a lot of people, I know, ask this question, and this is my experience with the CGS, is which one do you prefer, the 12 gram or the 33 gram? I ran the 12 gram at Copperhead. I was in a building. We had a lot going on. I had about 175, 200 shots about what I was getting out of a 12 gram in my particular setup.
Okay.
You know, everybody's setup's going to be different, right? There's no, even the same models are going to be different on shot count.
And
things like that. Temperature ranges, things like that. And I think that's one of the things that we have to say about the CGS is it's not a perfect system. Why? Because we are running CO2.
It's a propellant, yeah.
And CO2 is weather dependent, temperature dependent, things like that. There's some occasions that you won't be able to do that. But what you sacrifice in that, you make up in the profile of it. You cannot tell that it is an HPA gun. You absolutely cannot. And that is the nice feature about that. Where on the Ugss, there's some telltale signs, whether it's a tank gauge, a little bigger tank, whatever else. But what you notice on this, and what I really like, is that it's the same size on the inserts for the CO2 on the Ugss to be able to run your real steel, real spec stock.
You kind of have a little bit of both. You can have the ability to use a HPA tank and have that ability to use it in all kinds of temperature conditions, or you can just swap it back out and have that same mil spec profile if you're going for a more realistic look.
Yep, I think so. I think it's the Ugss is definitely a more broader platform, and you sacrifice some of the realism on that CGS for that. But you know what? Summer's coming up, ain't it?
And
it's going to be warm again.
And CO2 is going to kick ass.
And CO2 is going to really work well as far as that goes. And that is the unique thing about the 33 gram that I really like, is there's no cap on the back. Usually, like what I noticed on that CGS with the 33 gram that was really cool is I didn't have a cap to go ahead and take down, set down, lose. I'm in the middle trying to do all those things where all I have to do is just thread on that 33. Done. It's done.
Right in my dump pouch. Pocket, not a big deal.
Right in my dump pouch. I don't throw it on the ground. We don't want to litter. Right. You know, and we're trying to keep things sterile and as we play. But
yeah,
I love it. I think it will be a great marriage between the Kythera and that. And we'll see more about the efficiency tests. I think, you know, I'd like to do some more with you while I'm here if possible. We'll see.
We'll see if we work it in. We're definitely still tweaking the internal volume of it, so we're going to see exactly where we are and then doing like an official test. So we'll see if we can do that while you're here.
Okay, well, I think so as far as that end of things go. What are some of the other questions that some of the...
All right, so other questions are, we've mentioned there's going to be other variants of the system. The Kythera is kind of the main steer mechanism that can be incorporated into other variants. So like one of the variants will be a full auto system for like a 249 M60 like that. There'll also be a select fire version, so actually have a full auto and full auto and semi-automatic version of it. This is the first one's gonna be a semi-automatic only. And then we also are toying with a single shot version, which could be applied to like a bolt action sniper rifle. So people are excited about that too.
I'm excited about all three things. I think those are all wants from the community. They're my wants. I love you guys in there, but I want this stuff too as well. I'm a player. That's what I love to do. I love to play. I love the tech, the technology, building custom guns, unique guns, things like that perform. It's got to look good, but it's also got to shoot good too. If it doesn't do both of those things, then it doesn't meet TooTallToms' seal of approval.
Yeah, that's kind of been our primary goal when developing these systems, is performance first and then other things later. Like, we're not too worried about the intricate little quirks that, like, blowback. Like,
Sure.
blowback is cool,
It's a novelty thing though.
but it doesn't really help you.
No,
Now,
it's
it would be something we'd like to do eventually, but right now, efficiency and performance is basically what we're going after.
Sure. I would rather, I'm just going to be this guy from that player. I'd rather be able to shoot you from 300 feet away as opposed to having felt recoil. That's just who I am. I would rather have that range and that attention to detail that I can shoot you at 300 feet through like a quarter every time.
Exactly.
That's what we're going for, with these systems, is that precision, things like that. And I think you guys are there. I really do. There's a reason why I use PolarStar systems, is because they do that. They just outperform AGs. I mean, there's a cost difference, and we understand that on that side of things. But that's why I use them, is because I know that when I pick them up and I go out to play with my friends, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing and not fixing my gun.
Right. Like, before I came to PolarStar, I worked 11 years in just the retail industry, and that was my main problem. I was the tech there, and I never had a chance to work my own gun. So, when I did get a chance to play, pick up my AG, and chances are there's something wrong with it, because I had to.
So let's go back to the Kythera here for a second, and let's talk about that trigger a little bit more.
Okay.
So my understanding is that it's adjustable on poundage, right? So
Yes.
maybe you want a lighter poundage, or you want a heavier one. From your video that you did the other day, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a great video. And it's fully adjustable, correct? So you can adjust it. What's the range of poundage that the trigger will?
So we don't have like the official specs yet, but I believe it's somewhere between like 2.5 pounds up to about 7 pounds.
Okay, unofficial. So don't email Rod, say, hey, you
I
said
saw this
that
2
it
months
would
ago,
and do this. No, so we're just assuming.
Yeah, just
on
the
that.
toying round we've done, it's approximately like 2.5 pounds up to about 7.
So, and also you can adjust the brake.
Basically, yeah, how short of a break it is. You can adjust how far the sears are engaged. So you can have a very, very short engagement, very light trigger pull, or very short trigger pull.
And also the reset. The reset is adjustable as well.
The reset is kind of based on the sears, how far they're engaged, but the disconnector has to basically match that. The disconnector, when you come back off the trigger, just kind of pops off, so it has to be the same match as the sear.
Okay, so
it's they basically go hand in hand as far as very light.
So it's doable, and it's not hard. I noticed that it's just a couple set screws.
Yeah, with the newest one, it's definitely a lot easier. The very original one was a little more tricky to do, but we've kind of widened the adjustment range. Was not quite as you don't have to be quite as precise when doing it to get it just right. So it's a lot easier on this one. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay, well, I don't think I have any more questions on the system itself. What are some of the other issues or things or questions that people have about the system?
Okay. Well, aside from different variants, which, by the way, the semi-automatic will be first. That's what we're currently working on, and then the other variants will follow. We're not exactly sure the exact order that will be in, but they'll be coming along the line. But semi-automatic is going to be first. It's going to be the least expensive, the easiest to do, and it's going to be, you can use it anywhere in the world, because some countries don't allow full auto.
So the question that I have, and I know that some of the other users have been asking this on the PolarStar forum on Facebook, is when is the PR-15 going to be getting released?
Yes, we keep pushing that one back. First it was to incorporate the Ugss and CGS systems into it. Then basically when we were coming out with that, this was on the books. So it was like, okay, we should probably wait because this looks looking pretty good.
It's looking real good.
So that's really not my department as far as when it is. I'm not a designer, but it's still in the pipeline. It's
still happening. So when that project does get done, you guys are leaning more towards making it a Kythera-based system as opposed to using the F2?
Yes, most likely, because there's a lot more things we can do with Kythera. It's going to be a less expensive system, so the overall cost of the gun will be less. We are most likely going to do the electro-pneumatic systems as well, but it's going to be a little more tricky what with designing UFC to fit sound receivers like that. But yeah, so first, the initial release of the PR15 Pro will be with the Kythera system.
Okay, so there you go. That's the proof. When it is, we don't know yet. You know,
Don't know yet. Unfortunately, I can't give you that one.
When you're doing something completely unique that nobody else has done before, it takes a minute to go ahead and design it.
And also, too, like the PR15 Pro is actually something we've wanted to do since the very inception of PolarStar. When we were developing the Fusion engine, we were thinking it would be really cool to just do a complete rifle, but weren't really the point to do that. So we've been working at this since 2011. Basically, the idea has been there for the PR15. So yes, we're going to take our time and make sure it's done right.
There we go. So soon, and the Kythera is a big step in making it
this is
sooner, which everybody wants.
This is a really good system to have as a base. So yeah,
on that end of things. So what I'm curious about, and maybe we'll do this. Let's have a race. I'm interested in racing. I know I want to shoot the SIG. I mean that looks really fun. There's a F2 right there. We should race and see if I could beat you with the trigger versus the electronic, and see how much difference there is in speed.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that a little bit later here.
A little bit later here?
I'm pretty sure you're going to find the F2 is still going to be a little bit faster, since that's basically like clicking a mouse button. There is more of a mechanical feedback with this one. So with practice, yes, I'm also not practiced at it.
Ooh, it sounds like a challenge, right? There's a challenge to be able to go ahead and see.
But yeah, we can kind of see how fast we can push it.
Yeah, I think so. So for those people that are wanting that. But I think in realistic, I think that's a fun challenge. But this is really meant for, I could have said Milsim. I mean, it really is. But you know what? I'll use it indoor.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
all day long as far as that goes. And
Well, just think, you don't have to worry about your battery going bad. You don't have to worry about if you're changing the battery, ripping out your wire harness.
exactly.
Like that. So
You don't
it's
have
a
to-
lot more simple.
things breaking with it's just more stuff to break or run out and things like that. The other thing that's great about this is when you're actually playing like Milsim West, for instance, where you've got a 40-hour game and you're playing that, you don't have electronics or things like that can get wet or moisture or batteries will know or things like that. It just makes it a lot more bulletproof system for those.
Yeah, that actually wasn't a question that came up. Is the system waterproof? Which it is actually. Since there's no electronics and it's a fully sealed system, you could literally submerge that in water and it'd be all right. The gun might not shoot very well if you come out of the water, but
no, your barrel
just
will be completely
not
wet.
so much.
Your BBs will be super lubed.
yes, but the system will go bang.
It will fire if need be as far as that goes. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a standalone solution, no tank or line, and I think that's the products that you're really seeing developed from PolarStar with the Ugss, CGS, and now the Kythera. Now we're taking one other thing out of the loop. You know, we've got it all in the gun, and I think that's leading up to what we were talking about just a minute ago, which is the PR15 Pro, which will be, I know, really nice.
Yes, it will be. It will be
Nice.
worth the wait. I can guarantee that.
Yes.
But, all right. So a couple of other questions that came up was, all right. So aside from the variants of the Kythera that will be coming out, what can this Kythera fit into? Like, what will be compatible with? So it is going to be first for the version 2. We're working on version 3 as well. People also asked about SR25s, which use something I think they call like a 2.5 or version 2 long, depending on who you ask. We'll be compatible with those as well. Basically, all you're going to be doing with the system is changing out a little small piece in trigger linkage. Basically, it's where it interfaces with the trigger itself. Depending on how long the gearbox is and where the trigger sits in relation to that, you have to account for that difference. So you can actually put into other systems with just a small change.
So for me, if I want to go ahead and do militia at Milsim West, I will be able to go ahead and take my AK
Yes.
or my PP19 and put a Kythera in my version 3 gearbox.
You will be, yes. Just like as far as going across different gun models within that gearbox range. So like say it's a version 2 and you want to put it into an MP5. It's going to be the same trigger link, you just have to change that. But just like with an F2 or jack, you just change the nozzle length.
So version 2, version 3, version 2.5, those are all gearbox systems that will work with Kythera.
Yes.
Right now, as far as that goes.
Well, it will be a very small change. Just like I said, to the trigger linkage, just a small block.
Sure.
It's with one set screw. The full auto version was like for 249. That is going to be a little bit different. It has to have the full auto linkage in there.
Sure, you've got the micro switch and a lot
But
of
for your standard gearbox versions, V2, V3, it's going to be no problem at all. Very small change.
Do we know the rate of fire of the Kythera? What it's actually set at? Is there a way to adjust the rate of fire?
That's going to be a lot depending on input pressure and what kind of restrictor you have in it. Restrictor is going to change how fast the system recharges. So the faster it recharges, the faster it's going to complete that shot cycle. So it's going to be that and how fast you can pull the trigger. So it's kind of dependent upon
dependent on that spring and the PSI that you're using.
Yeah, with higher PSI, it's going to recharge faster, and also with a restrictor, changes how fast it can recharge. So depending on those factors, it will vary how fast you can actually shoot it without outrunning it, basically.
And I know you answered this question in your previous video. Is it dwell adjustable?
For like air volume?
Volume for barrel length.
That will be with spacers. Basically, as a fixed volume system, so the internal volume will be the same. It's not like an F2 where it's variable, where you just change your dwell and changes how much volume it dumps, because it's just being supplied from the airline. This, it has a fixed volume inside of it. So by changing that volume, by adding spacers to make it shorter or longer, depending on the maximum amount, it will vary that.
I love the fact that it's ready to go, drop in. Anybody can go ahead and use it. If you're a tinkerer, you want to go ahead and adjust it more, really dial in that gun as far as that goes, but you have those options to be able to go ahead and do that for your barrel length. Also nozzle speed, things like that. I noticed that there was a little set screw that was bored to different sizes to allow that nozzle to go faster or slower in your video. It was a great piece of information.
Yeah, and with that stock restrictor, like I said, we are finding that works pretty much from the full pressure range, which is 60 psi to 180 psi. Within that range, it's still fed fine. So I'm probably not going to need it unless you have an issue where your magazine doesn't feed very well, or you're using really, really heavy rounds. I have to test up to 0.4s, there was still no issues there, but maybe using 4.8s or
I got some 4.5s. We think maybe we should try them. We'll try them with some 4.5s. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
But they'll probably be good, like 4.5s, yeah. Shouldn't be a problem.
What else has the community been asking about the Kythera system, or anything from PolarStar that we want to kind of touch base on in the video?
One question that came up was the cocking mechanism. People were asking exactly when would you actually need to use it. So basically, we'll kind of reiterate, you only need to recock the system if it basically runs out of air at a certain point. So under certain situations, if you are, say, running a CGS and your 12 gram runs dry, have to install in just the right point where it's not the point where air is flowing into it, you'll actually have to manually pull back that valve with the cocking mechanism to be able to fire again.
So this gun does have a CO2 cartridge in it right now.
It does, yes.
Do you mind if we shoot it right now and go ahead and see if we can...
You can empty it out, and then we can see what happens when it stalls, and if it stalls, we can recock it.
Okay, we'll kind of show that process so you can see why that is there. And you were telling me a little earlier, we were talking about it on that wire, is that you don't necessarily have to, if it runs out of air, recock it.
Not necessarily. It wouldn't. It's not something that happen every time. It's just if it does happen, it is there in that case.
Okay. So
and usually, if you're running like a remote line, it's not going to happen. You never really truly fully run out of air. If you do, you're shooting a lot of shooting. But yeah, you usually don't need it for that.
Well, I'm excited to see this with the Ugss and the 12 gram cartridge to see if we can actually get it stalled out, to see if we actually have to pull to recock it. So
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So has CO2 in it. I think we got a decent amount of DBs. Not sure how much CO2 is left in there, so just have that. We're ready to here too.
Oh, we do have to cock it to start. A lot of air in there, Rod. There's a lot of air in there. There you go. Finally ran out.
Alright. Alright, so go ahead and collapse the stock. Unscrew that. Alright.
Oh, look at how nice that was.
Yeah. Now I didn't hear it click, so it probably did not recock.
I don't think it recocked.
So give trigger pull, see what happened there. Nothing? Okay. So it did stall on that point, so go ahead and recock it.
Ready to go again.
Yeah, I didn't do that many. Sorry.
Nope. No, that's fine. But see, it's pretty simple to go ahead and use this right in there. it's a great thing. I know some of the questions I saw in your last video was, can you modify that cocking mechanism to say maybe go on the charging handle?
Yeah, we kind of designed in such a way that a user could adapt it however they wish. A lot of people were saying, like, can you use it with an AG charging handle? The reason we really designed to do that off the bat is because depending on the manufacturer, it's going to be different. And quite frankly, some charging handles are not really robust enough to handle that.
Yeah, anybody that's worked on AGs over the year has had that one guy that's gone ahead and thought it's just like a real steel and went ahead and pulled that spring and broke that assembly in there. Yeah, it is kind of a weak point in there. But you know, for those that want to go ahead and venture in that,
yeah,
more power to you. That's the fun thing about Airsoft is tinkering. So
yeah, so you can definitely do that on some of them. But as you know, it's just not really that hard to cock it back.
No, I think it's a great solution for that issue. Things like that. I was really nice to see too is that if you really wanted to for some reason or whatever, you could just push in the nozzle or you cock it too as well. So if you have access to that, if you're working on it, so there's options.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, there's options to go ahead and do the system. I really can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Do you know some other stuff that you've been seeing in the community? Like some other questions we should chat about?
I think we covered a lot. Trying to think. Don't really think so. If we do, we'll come back real fast and cut that in.
Yeah, I think so. I think we make a little cut here and then. Okay, so we touched on different versions, touched on the cocking mechanism. What else did we touch on there? I'm trying to go back in my mind here.
We did mention you want to do a race at some point.
Yes, we do need a race. Or we can bring in Rich and me and Rich can race.
Okay. From the peanut gallery. All right,
Yep.
one more question. All right.
Hey, you know what? Let's. Were you recording that? Hey, peanut gallery. What's the question you got over there?
What triggers does it use? Actual physical triggers, AEG or?
Okay, yes, that was their question. People.
Oh, by the way, that's Rich. He's on a impression team, the Grommets.
Everyone, Rich, please meet you.
Hey there.
All right, so yes, AEG triggers. That was the question. People were asking, let's use a proprietary trigger or can use an AEG trigger. So it is designed to interface with a standard AEG trigger. So you can use aftermarket like your arms, the first one comes with your gun, HPHB trigger to have a little extra tunability, all of that. So yes.
They make a lot of really nice triggers nowadays.
They do.
I know Speed, I've got a few of those triggers in there, some of the flat face triggers in there. Those would be real nice to put in there. It'll help a lot with that uptake. I think you guys built a race gun. You know, if you guys want to go ahead and shoot semi-automatic or race gun, I already know it's the most realistic trigger feel you're going to have. You know, in comparison to running a valve on like another system and things like that. You guys have really outdone yourself on the design of that. And you know, I'm just not blowing smoke up your butt. You know, I really do think that as far as that goes, from my opinion, it's really innovative technology. And players should definitely check it out. If you see me on the field, I'm going to have one. See him on the field back over there, he's going to have one. Come ask us to shoot our guns. I don't have a problem doing that. I got plenty of BBs, and if I run out, I'll get more. You know, let's have some fun. Let's go play with our friends and enjoy the hobby. And check out some of this stuff if you're not sure about it. You got questions? There's lots of us that'll answer questions, not just Rod. You know.
No.
Yeah. But
Contrary to belief, yes.
yes, there's a lot of us out there. If you got questions about anything PolarStar, I'm happy to answer those questions. I know Rod is. You know, sometimes except on a Monday. And you know, but he does. He's a professional, so I appreciate that from Ron. Thanks for your time. I know you're a busy man, and you got some other things going on, but I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to show me, walk me through, answer some of my questions, answer some of the community's questions about the Kythera. But I think we still need to race, and I think I'm going to get Rich involved too. And I think we're going to have a couple different variants to see if we can outbeat that trick. I think it's going to be hard. I think
it depends how practiced you are at it. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard, but now that I shot a little bit, I think it might be doable. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, one cool thing.
Dan's the fastest guy here.
What's that?
I hear Dan's the fastest guy here.
Yes, Dan, the cameraman, is probably faster than all of us together. So, but one cool thing is that this SIG MCX is equipped with a tracer unit. So HPA PBs has some going right 3.2. So we're gonna have the Catheter run chaser rounds, have the F2 run normal rounds, and we'll see who gets to the magazine first.
Yes. Thank you very much to HPA BBs for providing some BBs for us to shoot today. I love them. What can I say? You know, let's talk about BBs for a second, Ron. I know you like BBs. I mean, that's part of the name. We'll go down there. Point .332s and glow in the dark and regular white. How cool is that? I mean, same round.
Yes, it's
Not having to adjust. I know that's been a problem for a lot of years in the community, is being able to change weights, and then you have to readjust your hop up, everything else like that. The other thing that I thought was really cool about running tracer BBs in that way is that at night I can see all the imperfections of my hop up. So if I'm under hopped or doing some other things there, I can tell that it's going to be shooting true. It's a lot easier to see at night when you see it glowing around going 250, 300 feet through the air.
Yeah, definitely. Like before, back in the day, like Marui made the 2s and 2.5s, and that's the highest you can get. But yeah, with the heavier weights, it definitely makes it a lot easier.
Heavyweight glow-in-the-dark BBs, Kythera system, standalone 12 gram, 33, 13 cubic inch tanks, CGS stocks, remote air systems. We're spoiled. Do you remember the days when we had plastic body guns?
Oh,
and we had to order in metal bodies? I mean, how far has Airsoft come? It's just amazing to see the evolution.
It is pretty crazy, and that's all been like the past decade.
Well, thank you very much for having me out, and thanks for innovating and making Airsoft more fun for everybody around. I appreciate it.
Thanks for supporting us. All right, so now we're gonna kick my ass. Or actually, we'll get Rich over here and see what we can do here.
Let's see what we can do here. Let's have some fun.
So first off, all right, so Rich from the Peanut Gallery here. He's going to race Tom to see who can enter the magazine faster, F2 versus Kythera. But Rich has actually never shot the Kythera before, so I'm going to get his first opinion on what he thinks of it.
I've been very jealous that Tom got to shoot a prototype and I didn't get to.
Well, I've enjoyed watching you wait in anguish over there, over here playing with it, and you're like, "Can I shoot it yet?"
I did dry fire it in the office. It's pretty cool.
Okay, well, here you go. Here's your big opportunity.
All right.
He's shaking with anticipation. Are you shaking?
All right, so it's closed bolt. So first round is a dry fire.
Okay. Oh shit! Wow, there's actual feedback. Oh man!
No.
That is so friggin' cool. You can really... It's so realistic. Like, it really is. Like, it... Alright, I've used gas blowbacks, and I've used... the only thing I can describe it as is it's a cross between an AR-15 and, if people are familiar with it, a Tokyo Marui gas blowback, an MWS, that has no traditional hammer. So you don't feel... Like, if you do a dry fire on an AR-15, you feel the hammer, like, drop, like, or like you hold it back just so you don't, like, damage your receiver. And you feel that, but with the MWS you don't. So it's like a cross between the two. You feel the trigger. It feels like it's very mechanical, obviously, because it's a mechanical system, but this is like... Let's see if I can...
All right. Hey, why don't we race?
All right, let's race. I got this. I can do this. I think I can do this.
You got warm up mag? All right. Swap that for you.
Mag here. I got a mag. Right here. Here's another tracer for you.
All right.
So what I got here is I've got this is a gun I built for Rich. This is an F2 with a PolarStar Ugss running a 13 cubic inch tank, and we both have the same rounds in here. So
Yes, I counted them.
Your money's on the F2.
I think the F2 is probably going to take it, yes.
I don't know, Rod. Like,
this is only the second time shooting it.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's.
All right. Do we have any stipulations? Can we do anything we want, or are we gonna?
I think
or traditional? Are we doing traditional? Or are we doing like some crazy paintball?
I don't want to do like some.
We're gonna do realism.
Yeah, let's do realism.
We're doing realistic.
There. 3, 2, 1, go, or shooters up, or.
Well, we'll load a mag and.
I can say go if you want.
All right, let's load it up. First one's a dry fire.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. Let's do one shot just to load a round in there.
Okay.
Okay. We're ready. Rod, go ahead and send us off, and we'll start the race.
Shooters ready? 3, 2, 1, go. close though.
That was close.
You know what? After shooting this a second time, what's really interesting is if you wanted to, you could somewhat bum fire it a little bit. There's enough on the reset. That's like I guess the pressure. Is that how that's how it's resetting?
Yeah, when the
You
descent kicks
could,
off. Yeah.
if you had a loose grip, you could do it. I think you could do it. I think I could have beat you that way.
Oh, you
that was
think
pretty
you
good.
beat me? Hey, undisputed
pretty
champion right now for speed on the F2. I think I should challenge you, Rod, with the Kythera. And
All right.
go.
But if I lose, then Dan shoots you.
And then Dan
Doesn't
shoots
actually
me?
choose you. It shoots against you.
Shoots against me?
No, that would be an interesting point.
Okay, let's
All
do
right.
it. Let's load up some more BBs in here and let's do it again.
All right. We have a little bottle, so might as well.
Go to save.
But that was surprisingly close. I have to admit.
He was only 5-6 shots behind, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the only thing that like gave out is my actual trigger finger. I'm not used to the mechanical. Like, if you really trained, you could do it.
How fun was that? Just to watch that. Didn't that just like get you like excited about it? Like,
Makes me go ahead and shoot something.
get out and go play.
All right. Non-tracers. You do realize when Dan shoots, it's going to make it look really bad, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Here's your
Professional
bag.
gamer.
Good luck. I think Rod's gonna kick your butt.
Well, Rod's probably shot it the most out of all of us, so I
True.
think he's going to give me a run for my money. I think he's going to give
Or
me
I'm
a
going to be
run
really
for my money.
embarrassed. One or the other. But hey, I couldn't hit a balloon, so.
I think you can beat me. I really do. I think you can beat me. I think that I think it's all about skill of the shooter, and I think that's what's also awesome about the Kythera is that it gives you skill. You can practice this.
True.
And pick up.
It's not like just clicking a mouse button.
No.
There's a little
And
bit of
how
skill.
awesome is that for crossover for training?
It is pretty cool.
That is awesome. It really is. If you're into dry fire, how great is that to run around in your house and do dry fire drills with? There you go.
It is very true. You
go
actually, and you can tune it with between the stroke and the weight. You can actually make it feel very much like your real gun.
There you go. So there's another advantage. Let's do this. Let's race. Here's your backpack. I got this one. You got tracers.
I got tracers.
You got tracers. I think. Well, that's an empty. These are regulars.
Tracers.
Let's do this.
All right.
I don't know, man. I'm scared, Rod. I think you can beat me.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Hey, Rich, you want to go ahead and
All right.
count us down? We'll go ahead and one round to load it up.
I'll do 3, 2, 1, then go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Just say like shooter ready, and then 3, 2, 1, go.
Sight on, right?
Shooter ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he got you!
He got me!
He got you!
He got me on that one. There we go. How about that?
It's like a really long magazine.
I will tell you this though that I noticed through the challenge is that unlike that, your finger does get fatigued, and if you start pulling shots, you can actually start pulling shots. You actually can not.
Yes.
You can start missing and
I'm
start
feeling
doing
it.
this. Yeah, you can definitely do it. Whereas
I've been defeated! No! No! Guess what? I think I need to go up against a cameraman with the Kythera, and he can shoot this gun, and we'll see, because there's a rumor going around he's the fastest gun in town.
This is actually somewhat true.
This is somewhat true, and we'll ask him about that. So we'll put the cameraman on the other side of the camera.
All right.
Torture him a little bit. What do you say, Ross?
That sounds good.
Let's do it.
Get him on this side, right? All right, Dan, you're next.
Okay, so Rod beat me. I got an F2, and I'm going to contribute that because he basically developed the Kythera. So I don't know how many times he's already shot it, but he's shot it a lot. So we went ahead and grabbed the camera guy. What's your name? See?
Dan.
Dan. He's the one that's actually on the other side of the camera that does all these great videos and helps PolarStar see that content. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Love your videos. Anyway, the rumor on the street is that you're the fastest gun in town. Let's see if you can beat me.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's do this.
I still think Rod's faster.
You still think Rod's faster? Let's find out. All right. One shot. Go ahead and chamber around. All right.
All
Rich,
right,
go ahead
ready?
and count us down.
Shooter ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, you're cheating! What are you doing, Full Oh my God, he's still beat you almost! He's still beat me!
He beat me
was
on
full
3
auto!
round bursts. He beat me on. I switched it on 3 round bursts. You know, fastest gun. I had to go ahead and do that. That was close.
That was close.
You still beat me,
Yeah.
even though I switched it over there because I was laughing so much. That
Yeah, I heard it.
actually happened. You're like, no. So, no, that's just a fun thing. So, what do you think about the trigger? I know. So the rumor is you don't actually play airsoft.
No, I've never played airsoft or paintball or anything.
And so how did you learn to shoot so fast?
Video games, pretty much.
A video game?
Yeah,
there you go.
R2.
Yeah, R2. Watch out for him on Call of Duty because he's gonna own you. That's what's gonna happen over here. So, thanks, Dan. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And,
Good shooting.
little fish bumps here. There
Yeah.
we go. So.
Well, I think that about covers it for today. We apparently had a lot of fun.
We can't get him to stop shooting.
But we're just still having fun. But yeah, if you have any more comments or questions, comment below. I'll also look in the description for a link to his social media. A lot of cool stuff there, I'm sure. And yeah, I guess we'll probably some more updates later on here.
Well, thanks again for having me out. Thanks for answering all my questions, letting me shoot it. That was a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you out on the field and coming back to visit you more often here at PolarStar. Like I said, please, if you're following me, I will share this out. Please make sure you guys are following PolarStar Airsoft. And you know what? Support these guys. They love the hobby. A lot of their things are made in the USA. They're an innovative company that really is changing the game for the better. And that's I can't say enough. I just can't say enough how great they are. So
This thing is sick. I want one.
Did I get the
we're talking, and he's still using. We're going home, Rich.
Save your money, kids, and get ready to buy this. That's all I got to say.
All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. Definitely more fun than other videos. So appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, Rod.
next time, we'll see you later.
Hey, remember, you send a waiver, call your hits.